Hope you guys are all doing well. Just my last video here quickly on entrepreneurship and how entrepreneurship will work when you guys are studying for your exams. So it's obviously to do with management as well as entrepreneurship. So when I ask you what the three levels of it is, top, middle, and bottom, please don't get confused with things like the three tasks versus the three levels. This is what we refer to as the three levels. The tasks are planning, organizing. Okay, so your top level management is responsible. It's things like your CEO, your board of directors, and they're responsible for strategic alliances. They're looking at the general direction of your decisions and make the high level decisions. So things like we want to make or buy a new factory, or we want to go environmentally friendly. They make those allocation of resources, and they set the vision, the mission for your business. Okay, they don't do the little itty bitty stuff. They do the big stuff. And your middle is known as tactical management. So whereas strategic is top, middle is tactical, and they are responsible for implementing the strategies of top middle. They look at certain things like, for example, a chess game. Remember the chess analogy? I don't see it on here, but there was that chess analogy that I put in. So they create synergy behind the various departments, and they're responsible for a specific department or division, so normally HR, finance, yada yada yada. And it's responsible for implementing the strategy set by the top management and make decisions that are more tactical in nature. So how we allocate our resources, how we're going to structure our day-to-day operations. They don't actually plan the day-to-day operations, they say how we're going to structure and make a plan for it. Whereas your bottom is responsible for managing the daily activities. They look at operational things, and they look at operational effectiveness. So they look at the schedule, the shifts, they actually train the employees. They're the boots on the ground, they do the actual work. Okay, when I ask you for the 4 managerial tasks, planning is one of it, and that's your setting of your goal, the success of your organization, and it helps you to ensure that your resources are allocated efficiently, your risks are minimized, and that you are planning for the future. So you do that. There are several key aspects to planning. You have to set a goal. Remember, it's a SMART goal. It has to be specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and smart. You have to do an environmental analysis. You have to plan for any eventuality. Things inside your business, outside your business, or anything that could affect your business. So you have to develop a strategy. You have to have a strategic development. You have to come up with an action plan. How are we going to get that thing into place? And then you have to monitor and evaluate those plans. Okay. Obviously, in reality, make a plan, execute the plan, wait for the plan to go off the rails, throw away the plan, get a new plan. Okay. The next step here, as we have it, is organizing, and organizing refers to getting everything together and putting it in the right place. And it leads to clarity. It helps to make sure everyone knows what they're responsible for, ensuring that everyone understands what is effective, and it makes people more efficient. If you know what you are supposed to be doing and everything is organized, everything is put in a place where it is most efficient, where it's going to do its job, you're more likely to be efficient. And it's one of the 4. This includes establishing lines of authority, communication, allocating the resources to the right place, and designing the systems and processes that will be used to achieve your goals. Okay, so you have to identify your goal and objectives. You have to make sure those are already in place, and then you create a formal structure. Create departments, divisions, getting people in the right roles. You have to delegate. There we go, NASA, if you're watching this, just for you. And you have to make sure people are accountable. And you have to then design the systems. You don't have to implement them, but you have to make sure that they are designed and ready to be used. Okay, you have to make sure it also allows you to be adaptable. Well-organized thing is somewhere where you can change. You have a clear structure that's in place, but you can change those structures. No, the structure has to be fluid. And it makes sure people are accountable. If people know what they're responsible for, you can actually hold them accountable for it. Then you have to lead like William Wallace. It gives people guidance. You have to support people. You can't just throw them in the deep end and say swim. You've got to lead them like I'm leading you. You have to lead them towards the organization's goals. And you have to establish that vision. You have to make sure people know that vision, that they know what your goals are. You have to communicate. Remember, we'll talk about communication later. And you have to provide them with feedback. It involves regularly providing feedback to employees on their roles. And you have to motivate and inspire people to actually follow you. Now there's controllers. So a controller is obviously someone who is controlling you. That's the last one. And make sure that you look at measurable. So leading is before you make sure you lead someone the right end. Controlling is afterwards, after you've seen the results, you've measured the results, and you take corrective actions. It makes you are fixing everything that you have. How do you do this? You have to set the standard. You can't monitor. You can't say something was a success if you didn't set a standard. You have to know what your goals are, and you have to make sure you're aligning with those goals. You have to monitor and analyze the performance. You have to go and look at, see what they're doing, and see, did we reach our goals? If we didn't, why didn't we reach it, and what corrective action can we take? Okay, why do you do it? You want to improve your performance. You want to manage your risks. You want to make sure people are accountable and that you are optimizing your resources. Okay. Now, the funnel method. Remember, a funnel is something where it starts very big and it becomes small. So, it starts with getting the big idea, getting the big problem, finding out what the big issue is or the big goal, and then refining it smaller and smaller and smaller until you actually reach something that is more manageable. So you have to brainstorm. You have to come up with, everyone comes together, they all come up with ideas. Okay, the goal should be da da da. Then you categorize it. You say, okay, we've got 5 different big goals, and these are the different categories we put them in. You have to prioritize, and then you have to execute the plan. Okay, there's just some characteristics. You can read through those, don't stress much. Okay, now the 3 leadership styles is autocratic, is someone who is in charge. As one guy, he takes the lead, and there's no discussion. If he says ABC, you do ABC. Okay. And it's when time is of the essence and you need quick decision making, it works really well because one guy can make the decisions and there's no debate. And when there's a hierarchy that's already there and you know that person has all the unique experience that you could want, it helps you to streamline the process. Okay. However, it can limit input and ideas from others. It creates a culture of fear and resentment. And remember that about key person dependency. If you are relying on one person too much, it leads to staff being unhappy, and if he leaves, then what then? So it leads to a lack of input from others. Okay, democratic leadership styles where input is gathered from everyone, everyone's ideas are heard, and then you decide on the best course of action. Okay, it encourages team participation, it fosters a sense of trust and responsibility, it results in effective decision making because everyone can have their thing, and encourages innovation and creativity. But it's time consuming, it might result in a lack of direction if everyone's trying to give in their piece of plan and you don't actually know where you're supposed to be going towards the end, and it's challenging to implement. People are always going to argue. Sometimes you need someone who can take charge and get you where you need to be. Okay, now the difference between communication and coordination. Communication is being able to talk to people, getting your point across, getting verbal, non-verbal cues, being able to talk to others, tell others what you want or what you need. Coordination is when you organize people, you get people in the right places. So someone who can communicate doesn't always coordinate very well. He can talk, but he can't get the message to the right people, get the right people in the right place. And you need clear direction, clear roles, and coordinating is someone who's very organized and knows where everyone should be. Okay, so a good communicator does not necessarily mean a great coordinator. Guys, I hope this helps at least. I know it's a little short, but it's just to give you an overview of the lesson again.